And welcome back to another episode of the Green White Checkered. I am Picks by Fitz, or Andrew. I'm here with Austin, Joe, and Zach, and we're here to talk about a lot of racing we had this weekend. We had the trucks, Xfinity, and Cup cars all race. Trucks, it was that's their final race until the playoff race, and then Xfinity's got one more, and so did Cup. So let's just hop into it. I'm gonna start with Cup because we got one happy guy here, Zach.
We do.
Yes,
How
I
you
love
feel?
the playoffs. Playoffs are the greatest, the best thing ever. It's the best format.
So good.
Uh,
No errors with it.
No, not one. Perfect system.
So your boy Christopher Bell takes the W.
He does, and I didn't see it coming. I said I think he does okay here, but he's not great. And he said the same thing. He downplays himself a lot though. Like he says he's not good at road courses. Well, where'd his first NASCAR Cup win come from? Road course. But he never did do great. He can't really run the high line like your Reddick or Larson. For whatever reason, just doesn't get comfortable at it. But yeah, I was pretty nervous. I wrote it off. I put in our Discord. I was like, well, I think we're going into Martinsville and a must win. I wrote that in the second stage when he fell off. And then they just kept working on it. Adam kept making adjustments, and they got dialed in. A couple good restarts later. Oh shit, we're in third. And then watch that. I think it was the second to last restart when he first took the lead. Which I was really excited to see because I was worried because I saw him get a run on. Was it Blaney and? Yeah, it was Blaney and Denny that were battling for the lead.
Oh yeah.
And he got the run, and I was like, oh god, don't be Mr. Teammate here and try to push Denny. And you see him, he kind of thinks about it because I think that's something Bell does. Sometimes he tries to be like the good teammate. And he hesitated behind Hamlin for just a second, and then he cuts down below and takes it 3 wide. It's like, yes, thank goodness. But then we took the lead, ran with it, and there is one thing that still concerns me though, is that we had that pit stop again, and pit crew lost us 2 spots. Went back to third. I was like, oh boy, is that it? Is that all she wrote? And I saw Joey Logano get next to him. I was like, oh god, they're just gonna sit there and run next to each other for the next 20 laps. But he got by him, cleared Blaney, then cleared Byron, which is a good little battle. Them guys raced it out pretty good there for a few laps. And then I did not sit down those last 30 laps. I was standing up, pacing, watching TV. I was like, oh god, where's the caution? It's just gonna fuck this all up.
Naturally.
Yeah.
He's going to come in the pit and lose 20 spots and end up.
But I did get worried because Blaney started charging real hard at the end there. He came in. God, what are you chasing down? I think he pulled him in like a second and a half or something like that, and that's with having to pass Byron. But then I guess he kind of threw in the towel there at the end. Just wanted to salvage a finish. Blaney did, I think, because you saw he started dropping back like a couple tenths then. So I think he was just trying to protect the car at that point. But yeah, I mean, it leaves you with why in the hell are we not here for a championship race?
Yeah.
Yes.
Amen.
Why?
Actual good
All
racing.
3 races this weekend was great. Great racing everywhere.
Go to that terrible racetrack in Phoenix.
Multiple lanes and everything. What we saw was it
money.
Martin and Bubba fighting side by side for first 20 laps. It felt like. Just no one giving an inch, multiple lanes. You don't get that at Phoenix.
You don't even get that at a lot of mile and a halfs. I know we've been saying how good the mile and a half racing is, but I still feel like at most places, even the fight for the lead is tough.
Yeah.
You really have to set it up right. But even here, it was if you're faster, you could find another lane and get by.
That kind of racing is so interesting to me too. When they were side by side, because as if you don't really know what you're watching, you're like, okay, yeah, they're just running side by side. No one's faster than the other or whatever. But you got to think about how inch perfect they're having to be, how they're having to hit their entries just right to then make their exits right. It's not losing too much on the back stretch or on the front stretch. How they have to, find what lanes working for their car. If they're gonna run right on their door, if they're gonna run kind of the middle and increase their stretch speed, front stretch, back stretch speed, or what, just the amount of nuances. And if you go in too hot on a single entry and then sacrifice that exit speed, that battle's over. You're falling back and you're losing that clean air. But it's just it's so interesting to watch these guys, put it right on the edge. And I think that's a large reason why people think NASCAR is boring is like, okay, yeah, that car's just not faster, the same speed, whatever. But when you really, as experienced iRacers like we are, we know those nuances, obviously. But like, but in all seriousness, we do, as just fans, we know like all the skill and all the pinpoint precision these guys are having to put into these corners, and it just makes it so interesting. And I love that kind of consistent racing like that. Even if it's like that for 20 laps and no one's given, it's like, okay, these guys have been about perfect every the last 20 laps. I just love it. And then if we get a Phoenix and it's single lane racing and no one can pass, and it's just.
But the restarts for one lap are fun.
Yes, dude, they're 20 wide on the turn one, and then they're 1 wide throughout the entire pack by lap 3. So,
I mean, if we have that restart at Phoenix that we had at Homestead, Bell's finishing third. Like he came out pit lane third, he's finishing third. But I mean, what you're saying, about iRacing, it does give you that appreciation for what these guys are doing. Like, I'm not saying what I'm doing is the same by any means, but like, you saw it with Bell, you see it with anybody who's like out in front, who's holding off the lead to somebody charging, is like how you have to hold up to that pressure lap after lap after lap and hit your marks perfect. I've folded on iRacing in some random A fixed with nothing on the line, let alone, trying to win my way into a championship round, like actual pressure. So being able to like just not crack under all that stress and pressure is just insane to me.
Yeah.
And like, if you slip up or do something stupid, you're going to be on the internet forever. You're going to be hating yourself and everything.
Yeah.
Like, you're just going to get memed all week until next week. It's tough. Like, I don't think there's not enough appreciation for the guys that can really just be ice cold and hold it down under that kind of pressure. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think up to the first green flag stop, the racing was amazing. I think you had like 6 cars within 2.5 seconds. You can't ask for anything better, right? I mean, Brad was up there. I can't remember Blaney, all the fun guys, but I don't know. Great racing. I still think this should be the championship race, and
I think everybody
in
does.
the future it happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's one of the best tracks in the schedules. So I don't know. Hopefully we go back, but
I did hear
we'll talk
on one of the podcasts. I forget which one. It might have been DVC or something, but they kind of like alluded to like NASCAR probably isn't doing themselves any favor by having Homestead this close to Phoenix.
Yeah.
Just because like we watch this every year and we're like, oh my god, that's so good, and then 2 weeks later, Phoenix, this is trash. They might want to put this like at the beginning of the year, so we kind of forget.
Yep.
You got to just wonder, and I feel like we've talked about this before, but what kind of deal, what kind of like money stuff's going on to keep Phoenix as the championship race? Like, I mean, they put so much into redesigning the track. I'm sure they have some kind of deal to try to recoup some of that cost.
I mean, that's the only thing it can be.
Yeah, if it's not the championship race, who's buying tickets? Like, who's, except for people in Phoenix area, in Arizona, who want to really see a NASCAR race. You're not getting a lot of people commuting in for that from outside the state, flying there like you would for the championship race, like they are now. So, I mean, I think you just have a bunch of empty stands.
I mean, even if you think like if I'm on the West Coast and I have to like get on a plane or something to go to a race, probably going to Vegas. I'm not going to Phoenix.
Yeah.
Or the Clash or
100%.
something.
Or the Clash.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I'm traveling anywhere and can go anywhere, I'm not going. Phoenix isn't my top 10 choices at all.
No.
I'm going to Homestead. I'm going to Daytona or something, or Charlotte, or like, I don't know. Like, if it, like you said, if it's not for the championship race, who's going to Phoenix?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think, it's just a money deal. Whatever it is, they got to make money from doing those renovations and all that stuff.
That neon cactus doesn't pay for itself now.
No, it doesn't.
Oh man.
Jeez.
So,
all right, so let's talk about our playoff contenders here. Had a couple with some problems. It all started with Kyle Larson.
Oh boy. Best driver in the world.
Yeah.
So trying to catch Blaney going to the green flag pit stops, and he found the yellow barrels at the beginning of pit road. What are your all thoughts on this?
I mean, you got 2 different guys with 2 different mindsets, right? Like Blaney wasn't it just the other week he ruined his race by having a speeding penalty?
Yeah.
So, And
like 3
he's
weeks ago.
last year he spun out on pit exit in Homestead. I mean, Blaney was probably trying to be super conservative because he knows he's fucked himself a few times on pit road. So he's like, I got the lead. If I lose it, I can probably get it. I'd rather lose it and try to get it back than do something stupid and ruin my race entirely. Larson is thinking the opposite. I need to pass Blaney on pit road. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to pass him when we're out there racing. So, I mean, Larson was being super aggressive. Blaney was being conservative, trying to protect himself. And they just met on pit entrance.
Yeah. I found it hilarious.
I did.
That was great.
I did see
Great
people trying to
content.
blame Blaney though. Like, shut the hell up.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Like, sorry, he's just freaking taking care of his stuff and not risking everything on a single pit entry and whatever stage that was. Like, you know, I think Larson even admitted that it wasn't like, you know, he's like, I was probably taking too hot. He might have been taking too slow. Like, originally he was like, I didn't expect to be going that slow, which is the classic, like, you hear that in iRacing all the time, like, sorry, sorry, man, my bad. I didn't expect you to be going that slow into the corner. Like, all right, man, like, shut up. But he quickly turned it, like, you know, he's just, you know, he's probably taking it easy. I was probably taking a little hot, you know, kind of thing. So, kudos for him, or at least, like, you know, admitting part of that. But, you know, if he wasn't locked into the playoffs, maybe had some different words to say about it. But, and I think they were saying that on the broadcast too, that, you know, Blaney's probably just taking it easy in there. Not doing anything wrong by any means, just different, like, you know, like you said, Zach, just different purposes, different stages in their race. No pun intended, but you know, no real fault in anyone. Glad Larson at least avoided him and just hit the barrier instead of taking Blaney out, because now Blaney's still 10 above the cut line. But yeah, it was definitely I was definitely laughing at that.
I don't think he would have made pit road speed. If Blaney wasn't there, I don't think he makes it.
I don't know.
Because he hit Blaney
I think he could have.
At the line.
I don't know.
But,
he might have been. Well, because it's not like a hard, like, you can go over and dip down. So, like, if he would have entered the first segment hot and slowed down below, and, like, averaged out, he could have been fine.
Yeah.
It's not like you get flagged for doing 51 miles an hour. You got to average it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Larson kicked off the issues, and then on the restart, Denny and Blaney were going at it pretty hard.
Yeah, they were.
That was really
awesome
fun to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Denny was a little over his head there, but that's my opinion.
He got by him.
He did. He used him up doing it.
I mean, but that's what we want, right? We want hard races.
It is.
We talk about it all the time.
That's the playoffs, right? You got.
Yeah, you want to see him going for it and getting elbows out. Yeah. You know, we always talk about how you don't see the beating and banging and door rubbing anymore. And that's what they're doing. And, you know, if Denny would have wrecked himself, well, he risked it. You know, risked it for the biscuit. Yeah. If Blaney would have wrecked himself, same thing. Like, that's what you want. You want guys going after it. And they didn't wreck each other. They're fine. And then, unfortunately, something broke for Denny, whatever that was.
Yeah, they didn't say. Like, it looked like a tire, but then they said it wasn't a tire. Something broke. But
I think
I don't know.
I was listening. I think it was on NASCAR NBC podcast. I was listening to Steve Letarte, and it sounded like the reason why they were kind of being, like, secretive about it is, I guess, some of the steering components, like, there's some areas where they can gain an advantage. So, like, I guess Gaypart didn't want to, like, reveal too much information about anything to try to, like, let anybody in on what they're doing or something like that. So there might be some, like, proprietary things that they're trying to keep under wraps or something.
Cheating Yodas. They gotta hide their cheats, you know.
Yeah, who got the largest fine in NASCAR history this year, Joe? I can't remember.
Huh?
Who? What?
For parts that they definitely didn't race on the racetrack ever? Never?
No.
Everyone,
Never.
They definitely didn't do it.
On,
they
Zach,
only had them on all
it.
4 cars that weekend. That's it.
Zach, you gotta believe them.
Not the week before when they won.
No. Nope.
All right, and then after Denny has a part failure, hits the wall during the caution, Martin Truex, his motor gives up. He's done for the race. So it turned really quick for these playoff drivers. Like, at first, just like, oh, the guys that, you know, you expect to make it are going to make it, and now it's Martin Truex below the cut line, Denny Hamlin below the cut line. So
Yeah.
It definitely is going to make things interesting.
I felt bad for Denny. I don't feel bad for Martin.
I agree with
I think someone said they're like, of course, is the week Martin chooses to get hot whenever he like qualified pole, and it's just like, I mean, he's not shown up. Like we've said it every week.
Oh yeah, I think that was me in Discord because I was so mad because I was like,
Yeah.
because I was looking at qualifying time and like me being knowing where Bell was and he needs to get above the cut line. He was sort of racing Truex. I was like, oh god, now he's gonna show up. Now all of a sudden Truex is gonna show up. He's gonna run away with it and win every stage and win the race.
Right.
And they blew up.
Well, I said it when Martin blew up. I'm like, he's gonna find a stupid way to win next week, and we're all gonna be mad about it.
Did you hear his radio?
Not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. His radio. Yeah. He wasn't happy.
He was not happy.
I would not be either.
No.
Yeah, he was fucking heated. He was saying how he's done. Well, I don't know if you know this, Martin, but you signed up for next year, so you ain't done yet.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's some clause where if they're not giving him good equipment, he can probably get out of it. But
well, hey, Almirola said he was retiring, and then he is still racing. So there's that.
Hard to
Still
argue
no
that you don't have
official
good
thing
equipment
on
when
that.
your teammates in the championship 4, though.
Yeah.
So I mean
they've had some really bad luck.
But, there's been some luck, but then there's also just been you haven't had speed, you've had terrible pit calls, you've had it's just the 19 team has just stumbled their way through the playoffs. The whole playoffs, postseason, whatever you want to call it.
The only reason they're even in is just carrying off the coattails of the regular season, which
that's it.
I've made my thoughts on before, how it's kind of a split subject for me, but yeah, it's just he does not deserve to be in this championship 4. I'm rooting against Martin more than really most people I'm rooting for this this next round.
He's legit the only one like that I would not want to see out of the remaining 6 we got. He's the only one I really don't want to see make it. I feel like I could feel pretty good about everybody else. Chris Buescher, even though he's not doing so hot this week, him and RFK have shown some good speed. Yeah. And they've rallied and they've done really well. Ryan Blaney, he's Mr. Consistent. He's just always there. Who else we got? William Byron, he's had a breakout year this year, so he certainly deserves a spot.
Yep.
Denny Hamlin was second in regular season points. He would have had it had he not admitted to wrecking Ross Chastain, which is kind of funny if you think about it. If Denny misses this championship or the championship 4 this year, you could almost say that he has missed the championship 4 2 years in a row because of Ross.
Now I hope it happens.
Right.
I mean, dude, Denny's the one who chose to go on a podcast and admit that he wrecked Ross, but
I mean, he should be able to. I'm just saying.
We've talked about it.
Yeah, we've talked about it, but
you're wrong. I'm right, but
it's just funny how you can tie it back to that, because had he not had that penalty, he would have won the regular season championship, had those extra points, and probably how many extra points do you get from winning the regular season champ? 15. So I guess he would still be below, assuming everything else played out the same. He'd still be below, but only by 2. Yeah. He'd only be down by 2, not 17.
Yep.
Well, do we want to make predictions for who's going to make it? Oh, or do you want to?
I was going to say, for Martinsville,
yeah.
Obviously, we have Bell Larson locked in. Byron's plus 30, so he's pretty much locked in.
Yep.
Blaney's plus 10. And then after that, I mean, Reddick minus 10, Truex and Hamlin minus 17, and then Buescher in a must-win at minus 43.
Yep.
What do you guys think? Who's coming out of this? Who's taking Blaney's spot, if possible?
Here's my thought. Just because Denny's always so good at Martinsville, we think Denny's going to win and Williams going to points in. Yeah, that's my most likely least hated scenario. I would love to see Reddick or Blaney be in there up instead of Denny. I wouldn't mind seeing Denny get one, I guess. But I feel like Martin's going to win just because why not? We're all rooting against it. It's bound to happen. That's my true prediction. Because of how much I'm going to hate it. And I know that it's going to end up being something I'm going to hate. But really, I think it's going to be Denny winning. That's my on paper prediction, is Denny winning with William pointing in.
Mm-hmm.
I would second that. I mean, all William has to do is really not wreck, and he's should be okay.
Yeah, show up, maybe get a stage point or two, if
Yeah.
even that,
Yep.
but just place fine.
Yeah, it would be fun to see like Reddick just, a second or third year team because like Trackhouse made it last year to the championship four, so it'd be nice to have those newer teams get their glory too. But yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. Let's just see Denny get his one, then we can all shut up about him being Mark Martin.
I mean, I guess
Yeah.
Williams only 20 in front of Blaney right now, so if he wrecks, like we're saying, like if he wrecks early, and Blaney shows up, and
Someone else wins.
yeah, if someone else wins, and then Blaney puts up like 20 spots better than William, or like does well in 2 stages, then finishes 10 spots better. Like he's definitely not out on a point standings, but I kind of like I think we're hinting at someone below that cut line is pretty likely to win. So I'm thinking only one guy's going to points his way in.
Yep. Yeah, Truex and Hamlin both really good at Martinsville, so I don't want to see Truex. It's going to be a storyline that we're going to hear way too much next week, and if he wins, that's all we're going to hear about at Phoenix. So
Yep.
I'm a Reddick fan. I want to see it happen. I'm not too optimistic on it. I'd probably, if anybody, would be Hamlin, but I think Blaney's in the driver's seat here. Byron's locked in my eyes. Unless if he goes out right away, he's in. So it's gonna be a fun race, that's for sure.
Zach, what's your prediction? Did you say it already?
No, I didn't. I think Byron's a lock as long as, barring some mechanical failure on lap 1 or something like that, or like in stage 1, that takes him out super early. I think he's fine. So I'd put him in it. Blaney and Denny, I don't know. Like we know Denny's good at Martinsville, but how has he been there in this car? I think Byron's pretty good here in this car. So is one of them guys going to win it? I don't know. I'm not so sure. I don't have that kind of confidence. I don't think a playoff driver is going to win it. I don't know who I'd put. Yeah, I just don't have that feeling. Maybe like I don't know, Bowman shows up or something crazy.
I was kind of thinking Bowman, just thinking back to that one Martinsville race.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know. I'd like to see Denny. I'm just gonna say Denny just because I want Denny to get in. So I'll say Denny and Byron.
Now, standing offer here. Since we do have a blessing on this podcast where anyone we interview ends up winning shortly thereafter, open invite to any Championship 4 driver who makes it in next week to come on the podcast next week and basically lock yourself into a championship. Hit our line. We got our business email up and ready to go, ready for phone calls, whatever. Standing offer. Whoever first come first serve though. We can only take one.
It's true.
So
you can only take one.
Better call quick. I'll keep an eye on the live stream comments for all
lines are open.
all the
we'll take some for this week too.
Yeah. We'll take them for this week. Yeah, if anyone messages right now, we'll call you into this Discord call right now and get you on so you can win this week and then take someone else next week. So
we want to help you.
Yeah, we're just trying to help, man. That's all we're trying to do.
I mean, it's a scientific fact that if you are on the show, you win.
Yep.
So, I mean, he's got a point. If you don't want to win a championship, then don't bother.
Yeah, no. Yeah, if you just are fine not winning, don't even call us,
Yeah.
It's fine. We're fine with that.
Yeah.
We're just trying to help.
I'm just saying,
we are.
Denny Hamlin's never been on here the week before the championship, and how many championships has he got?
That's a great point.
0.
That's a great point.
So,
Take it true.
can he
argue
get
with
at
facts.
us?
That's statistics.
Yep.
All right, so we all excited for Martinsville?
Yep.
How do you think the racing's going to be?
I don't know if I am excited, honestly. I'm excited because it's a cutoff race, but
I'm not excited because it's
Short
the
track package.
yeah.
You say that. Even last year, Martinsville, this race was still pretty good. Even at the end.
Because of the Hail Melon.
No, it's not because of Hail Melon. Bell, I was
Was that
watching.
really only a year ago?
He's happy because Bell won.
No,
so he thinks it's the
what I'm
best
saying
race
is
ever.
Bell
Yep.
started 6th on the restart and managed to get up to 1st in like 10 laps. And he was moving people. And it was happening throughout the race. I'm not saying it's going to be great. It's not going to be the best Martinsville race. But the fall Martinsville is just always better than the spring one. So
I'll give you that. Yeah, sure.
while I'm not saying it's going to be the best thing ever, I don't think it'll be as bad as what we're expecting it to be.
Yeah, playoff
Yeah.
races are always better. But,
There's more on the line. It's the same thing with Daytona, right? Like the 500, we all love the 500, but you could argue for most of it, it's pretty boring.
Yep.
But the cutoff race, was the cutoff race for the playoffs. That it's been a banger. Just because there's so much pressure. So I think Martinsville the same way. So even though we're not going to get maybe what we're hoping for, or what we would want to get, I still think it's going to be pretty good.
Yep. Okay, let's go to the Xfinity. Right off the bat, Justin Allgaier has a problem. I shouldn't say right off the bat. It's about halfway through. Championship favorite, Justin Allgaier. Tire problem. Thought it was a loose wheel. Pit. Still had a problem. I don't know what happened. He's now below the cut line. Then Cole Custer dominates this race with 50 to go. He cuts the right front tire, has to pit. And of course, he cuts it in turn 4, so he has to go all the way around the track. He's done. He's still in. He's only +3 though. And Sam Mayer wins another race.
Woo.
I'm not. I wasn't too excited about that, but Xfinity is shaping up to be a good one. I mean, Mayer's locked in. John Hunter's +44. He's locked in. But then Custer, Austin Hill +3. Allgaier -3. And then you have the
Everyone.
Smiths, Chandler and Sammy,
Must win.
and Sheldon Creed are all must win. So I think that's going to be a really fun race because
Yeah,
mean,
that'll be.
3 of them know they got to win. The other ones just have to finish, better than the others because plus or minus 3 is not a lot. Yeah.
I want to see
and
Sheldon
we all
win
know
it.
how the
Just
Xfinity races go.
big middle finger to RCR.
Yeah, that'd be great. I
This-
wish Cup would use the Xfinity cars, man. It's such good racing on these short tracks.
Just racing everywhere in these cars.
I know.
It's the perfect stock car, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Which
Take it
makes the
at
Gen
100
7 so annoying.
horsepower,
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
you give it 100 horsepower, give it to the Cup guys, done.
100 horsepower more.
Yeah, 100 horsepower more. So what are they making Xfinity now? 670 or something? Is that right?
650.
650, whatever. Yeah, 750, perfect number. Give them 750, give them the Cup guys, and we got ourselves a winner, I think.
Yep. 100%.
It's just so
So even
interesting
So,
to me
Go ahead.
because, like, obviously with the Cup car, they're trying to, I feel like they're somewhat trying to get it stock E, and a lot of the cars these days obviously have gone away from just the pure muscle, like the old Mustangs and Camaros and stuff, and now they're obviously adding a lot of aerodynamic features like we have on the current Cup car. But then with the Xfinity car, a lot of times it's the same cars they're modeling, like the Mustang and everything, but they just kind of do their own thing, I feel like.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could be way off on that. That's just what I'm, like, thinking. Then obviously with the trucks, they're, trucks, so it's a different thing. But it's back to that. I know we've talked about it before, but just the concept of, are we wanting to get stock car racing, or are we wanting to build good race cars?
Right.
Like, what are we going towards? And the Xfinity, to me, is them building a good race car. The Cup car, to me, is them trying to build a modern-ish stock car, which is why they're going to go to hybrid and do the higher horsepower in the next few years.
We're here first.
We broke here first, obviously.
Yeah.
Yet to be broken by any other news outlet.
Mhm.
First here.
True.
Amateurs.
But I don't know. I just think it's, a pure sign that we don't necessarily need to hold fast to stock car and still keep the production names, like still run the Stang and Camaro, Camry, whatever, but
Right.
or Supra. But like make cars that are going to race good, because modern day stock cars are not going to race good on an oval track. They may be great road course cars, really aerodynamic, but not good for ovals.
Well, yeah, because
what do you
you're
wanna
talking about
see?
you're talking about like the aero stuff that they're wanting to add on to it, right? Like your modern, Mustang or Camaro has all these splitters and wings and whatnot, diffusers. They're chasing lap times at the Nürburgring. They're not
Right.
chasing lap times at Homestead.
Yeah.
So you're and then what we're doing is we're taking that and we're trying to force it to run on our ovals by giving.
Let me correct you real quick, Zach.
Go ahead.
some of those some of those cars are trying to go for good lap times. The Mustang, I think, is going for more of a good kill death ratio for crowds.
Sure.
But the others, definitely better
Yeah,
lap times.
yeah.
But
That new GTD production Mustang, they're making that thing's gonna be a killing machine.
I think it's going to be plowing.
I don't know if you guys saw that. $300,000 of pure murder. It's gonna be great.
Holy shit!
Can't wait.
But yeah, I mean, I've thought that before, and I think we do need to realize that, like, I mean, just because it's called a stock car, like, that doesn't mean, oh, well, it's got to be stock. No,
Right.
because that's just not how it works. And I mean, look at all the other kinds of, grassroots racing and stuff like that, and how they all look like late models, super late models. They don't look like production cars. They're all flared out and asymmetrical and everything, because that's what makes them race better. You look at sprint cars and dirt late models, they're shaped the way they are because that's what makes them race better. You need that asymmetry and the right side to be flared out a little bit and the left side to kind of be tapered in. Like, I mean, if you look at the old Gen 4, how like the left front was like scalloped in, like it was like a little wing almost on the nose of it, the way it would like kind of capture the air and almost look like. And you need that stuff. That's what helps you get around dirty air and lets drivers move around and makes that less impactful. So I mean, that's something I've been on my soapbox for a while about. I think it's probably the manufacturers that care about it. I would think. They probably don't care as much about it as in Xfinity, because it's a second tier series. They don't feel like spending the money, because you would think they would have to spend money if they really wanted to invest in that series to do certain things. So they're probably just fine with it because they don't really care. But they definitely do in the Cup side for whatever reason. I mean, I'd argue, if your brand name being attached to it is so important and you don't want it to not look like your production model, why don't we just like call them prototypes? Like, what's wrong with doing that? Like having an oval prototype racer. You have GTPs, right? And on the IMSA side, which you got Cadillac, Porsche, Acura. They don't look like any production car. They're just prototypes. So why not do that on the oval side? What's wrong with that?
I wonder if the modern Cup cars have that auto shut-off feature at a pit stop where they pull in, it flips the motor off, and they have to let go of the brake to get it rolling again.
I don't know.
If they're going for stock, I mean, throw that in there. That's an all-modern car.
Well, they talk about stock, and then they put a single lug nut on it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I go to the dealership and look
the only cars I know that do that are like 911s and like high-end 911s too. I don't even think the base 911 does it. I think you gotta get
F1.
I think you gotta get to like 911 GT3s and that kind of stuff before they have a single lug.
Single lug. Did y'all see Joe Gibbs post that? It's like a reel on Instagram, probably posted on TikTok, where it was like, can a F1 pit stop do a quick? Can an F1 pit crew do a pit stop this quickly with only 5 men? It was just, the comment section was purely
F1 boys raging.
All the F1 boys just like, we can do that half the time. Well, yeah. Did you read it? It says 5 people. Like,
yeah, like
yeah,
so
you've got 20 out there.
Yeah,
quick little deviation, if we can, real quick, just a little story time.
Well,
so
hold on. Let me say real quick. When I tune into a race on Sunday, I want to see good racing. I don't want to see a car and be like, oh, that looks like a Camry.
Right. The racing product has to be the
Sunday,
first
sell on
priority.
Monday,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the priority should be the racing product. But anyway, just real quick about the F1 thing.
Oh, God.
So, when I used to work in like production and manufacturing. They would always talk about, doing these continuous improvement things and like how you improve a process to make it faster, blah, 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 blah. And one of the things they'd like to show was like an old, like from the 50s F1 pit stop or something, right? And it was just like one guy with a hammer, and they used to have like them single lugs, but they were like there's twist things, like there's star things. So it's just like one guy going around and whacking the hammer, getting the thing to come off, and then taking the wheel off, put it back on, all that. It was like, I don't know, a good 5 minutes for a pit stop or something like that. And then they show like a modern F1 pit stop where they pull in and, do the tire change and they're out in 2 seconds. And everybody in the room's just like, oh, wow, that's impressive. I'm like, do you guys not see? You have 15 people changing the tire. Like there's 3 guys to one tire. Yeah, so it's like, okay, management. So are we going to hire that much more people to make everything that much more efficient? No? Okay, well, then what you're showing me is useless. You went from 1 guy to 22.
Yep.
Also, I just this is completely unrelated, but I was just looking at my camera, and just how much of an alcoholic I look like.
Oh my God, yeah.
With my bourbon cabinet behind, with bourbon also spilling onto the table and onto the floor, and then my PBR.
And a
There's a
PR
Miller
case.
Lite box behind that. I have a bottle of Blanton sitting on my desk. Like just incredible amounts of alcohol in this room right now, and I drink all
If
of
anybody
this
wants to
every night,
contribute
so.
to the failing of Drake's liver and wants to send him some alcohol,
I
you
do
know, get in
accept
touch.
bourbon donations. I'll send you my wish list, and we'll,
Yeah.
I do
we'll
as
talk.
well.
We're also accepting sponsorship.
We are.
Yes,
Wild Turkey,
Yep.
sponsor us, you cowards.
yes, Fax Campari.
Yep, there we go. Okay, anybody else got anything for the Xfinity besides for how
No,
great
I
the
actually
car
didn't
is?
really watch it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
How'd Junior do?
He wrecked Josh Berry.
Yeah,
I did hear that.
Yeah.
No, you said that. I
He
did hear
okay.
that.
He was
That was
like
it, though.
You finished what, top 10?
10th-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
That's
was
pretty
running around
good.
there all day. That's not
For a
bad.
guy that only
I mean,
runs
it's one
once
of
or
his
twice a
favorite
year.
things. Yeah.
Good for him.
All right, let's hop on to the over to the
Sure.
trucks here real quick. We had our final cut race, so they are set. You got Corey Heim, Carson Hocevar, Ben Rhodes, Grant Enfinger. That's your final four going into Phoenix. They don't race next week,
They
which
do not. Which is
that's
sad.
so disappointing. Like trucks at Martinsville, always a good time.
I
but-
agree.
Can you imagine that? Like a championship cut race at Martinsville, all three series. That would be phenomenal.
I'm
Who's
shocked
sleeping
they
on
don't-
that? I guess they don't have
Yeah.
the space, though. They probably don't have the space to
Yeah.
do all that.
No,
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think so. Infield's pretty small.
Yeah.
Park
they've
the trucks
always just
outside, who
done
cares?
2 series.
Well, I mean, can't they?
Yeah.
I'd be
Don't they
fine
do
with
that? I feel like they've done that. They do that some tracks where they, like, trucks will move out.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trucks will move
I
out.
mean, we did it during COVID. Every
I mean,
race,
yeah, I
so-
mean, well, we're only a 2-day show now. They only have practice on Saturdays, so I mean, have trucks leave Friday night, Cup guys
rolls
pull in
yeah.
Saturday. But I don't know, maybe that's too much work for them to do or something. I don't know. I can't speak to the logistics of all that, but it'd be cool if they could ever figure it out. That'd be one hell of a weekend.
Yeah, or just get all the
Yeah.
everyone on the same kind of playoff schedule, because I never know who's starting playoffs when, what round cutoff is when, whatever. It's just, which I get.
They should at least try to. They should try to coordinate their cutoff races,
Yeah,
I agree. That would be
like
nice.
however they can.
Yep.
Because I don't even
That'd be
think
cool.
not everyone's regular season cut was Daytona this year. Which was
No,
weird.
it's not. It's never is.
Trucks was like 2 races before that.
I could have swore it was like the COVID year or one of the two.
I mean,
COVID years.
maybe, but you're talking about a crazy
Yeah.
year.
I know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's always pretty sure like the standard is cups or trucks are like 2 weeks before Cup, Xfinity is like a week after, and then Cup is when Cup is.
Is Xfinity 2 weeks after?
It might
It
be.
was at
I think they were Kansas.
So, yeah. So yeah, Darlington, Kansas. So yeah, truck race. Deegan, she's Xfinity ready, guys. She tried to
Sure.
wreck Dean Thompson again. She missed, wrecked other people and herself. So good job, Haley. Keep up the good work. She'll be in a
Boom.
Cup car in 2 years. Yeah. Eckes running for the championship, trying to make the cut. He's having an okay race, and then he gets a restart violation. He kind of sat back a little bit, 1 or 2 trucks, jumped it, pulled out right after the start and finish line, and they called it. So that pretty much ruined his race. He didn't really make his way back. He got caught up in a wreck at the end. Didn't matter. Ben Rhodes, hell of a pit stop strategy towards the end.
That was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, they knew
What a
what they
gutsy
needed
call.
to do. They needed points. He wasn't running. I don't think he was in the top 10.
He wasn't doing great.
And no, so they pit, and then he just stays out forever. And everybody has to do green flag pit stops. He makes it.
hmm
He finished what, 3rd or 4th?
Third,
Either
I think.
way.
I don't
Either
remember.
way, he made it
He got
into
in.
the final 4. So that crew chief needs a raise. I was a little iffy on him. I don't know if he's gonna hold this, but it worked.
Yeah, I think he finished third because of the 38 getting DQ'd.
Yeah, that's right. So speaking of the 38 getting DQ'd, Zach, you called it out.
Yeah, everybody did. Twitter. I saw so many
Yeah.
screenshots of that thing on Twitter. It just
Yeah.
it was the most obvious cheat I've ever seen. I'm convinced.
Windshield support.
I'm convinced
You.
NASCAR saw it in the race and was like, listen, you guys aren't going to win the race. So if you win this race, we're going to penalize the living shit out of you. Because, like, I mean, we've always talked about, like, you know, what would happen if somebody, just like the shitstorm of somebody getting into the championship just to get DQ'd and, like, all that bad press. Like, NASCAR wouldn't want that. So I'm convinced that they said, you're not winning this. If you just finish second, we will just hit you with a normal DQ, call it a day, and move on.
I mean, he was like 4 seconds ahead of Carson, and all of a sudden
He was
Carson
flying.
passed him. It was like, the hell just happened?
Yeah.
He was flying, and I think they made like a really bad. Like I'm not saying Zane Smith was in on it, but I think like maybe they made a really bad adjustment intentionally to slow him down. And you know, I get what they were doing. They needed to win, and they wanted to force NASCAR to make a call. I mean, because we do say, you know, oh, they're never gonna DQ the championship winner, right? Like that's always what we think. They cheat up a car, so I guess they were just kind of rolling the dice. What happens if we win? I think NASCAR told them what would happen.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yep, we won't win.
Yeah, sounds good.
Because he just suddenly lost all kinds of speed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, he said he was plowing tight, so maybe it was a pit stop adjustment, or maybe he just let off. I don't know. Any thoughts on championship driver here?
I don't really
Carson.
care. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Hat boy.
Yeah. I kind of hope Ben Rhodes does it. Just
Yeah.
I'd like a
because-
drunken post race
Oh, yeah.
thing again.
I
After
just-
2 Bud Lights. Hammer.
Lightweight.
I mean, the fact that they gave his crew chief to Haley Deegan this year, and he goes all the way until the playoffs without him. They give him his crew chief back, and then suddenly he's just running really well. So
Interesting.
I'd like to see him win it. Yeah, it's almost like the driver of the 13 truck's the problem, and not the truck or the crew chief.
That's a wild concept. I don't know if I can buy into that.
Big if true.
Yeah, but yeah, I think Carson's obviously got the. He's had the speed all year. I think he's a favorite to win it. So
Yeah, probably.
we'll find out at Phoenix. Anybody
Yep.
else got anything to add before we'll hit the news?
You, sir.
Okay, we alluded to it last week, but Chandler Smith is officially going to JGR next year. He is bought out of colleague.
Brilliant move.
And yep, good move for him. Colleague just seems to be struggling. We've mentioned it multiple times last month. So
For as bad of a move as I think it was for, well, I don't want to say bad, but like questionable of a move that I think it was for Sammy Smith to go to JRM, I think this is a solid move for Smith to go to JGR. Just because I think he's setting himself up. I mean, perfectly. You got Denny and Martin, who both have a limited number of years. Like Martin's probably done next year. I would bank on him being done next year for sure. So that 19 ride's going to open up. So I mean, have one good year in JGR Xfinity in the Xfinity program, get a call up to that 19 car. So I think it's a really smart move.
yeah, I'm a Chandler Smith fan, so I'm happy to see it. I think he'll definitely be there for the championship next year. So
Yep.
only other news we really have is both the Chicago road course races got shortened. Cup race was 100 laps this year. It's going to be 75. Xfinity's some weird number like 62 or something like that laps.
Always with him.
Yeah. I don't think it'll change much. I mean,
I don't really
we
care.
had a good race this year, but I think that's the weather more than anything, and
That's my
the
thought. We'll see.
surprise winner.
All I'll say about that is they better take out stage breaks for that race. or
Nope.
It's gonna be not
They're back,
fun.
Joe.
Well, I know,
So dumb.
but that's gonna be not fun.
Yeah.
If they don't
They're back,
remove
especially
that.
because people thought Charlotte was the Roval was good. So they're
Yeah.
going to say, ah, ha, ha, well, what did we do? We added 2 more cautions. So that's what saved those races.
Joe, you're the F1 guy. Tell us about F1.
And that's enough F1.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Next one. Okay.
You would be surprised to know that Max Verstappen won from what?
No way.
No.
P6 he started.
Was there a sprint race on Saturday?
There
There was. I think Max
Let me
won
guess,
that
Max
too.
won that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Well, it was fun. I watched a little bit of it, and Lando was winning led a little bit of the first half, and then Max caught him, and GG's, it was over. But
So Max
then-
must have started dead last then.
yeah, I know.
I'm really dumb because like not all week, but as soon as I saw it was the U.S. Grand Prix, I was like, oh, it's Vegas. Don't know why I thought it was Vegas up until I was watching qualifying, and I was like, that's not Vegas. Like,
My neighbor was down there.
Austin.
And then
Cool.
I was saying Lewis and Charles Leclerc got DQ'd, so I think it was
there a
tech
reason?
inspection. I think it was like inspection. I don't know, but
Park farming.
and that was
Yeah.
talking F1.
Okay.
When is
kill
that
count.
Vegas race?
It's like the
and
week
it's like
before
Thanksgiving
week before
week.
Thanksgiving.
She ticket
Yeah.
prices
I'll
are
watch it.
plummeting right now.
You're gonna stay
Yeah.
up and watch it at 1 a.m.
You mean people don't want to pay $50,000 for a one night
Shocking.
hotel room?
Is it 1
somewhere?
a.m. on Sunday morning or Monday morning?
Yeah, Sunday
Sunday
morning.
morning.
Yeah,
I'll
Sunday.
probably
Yeah.
stay up.
Yeah.
I did that for
Yeah, I'll stay up and
what
watch
was
it.
that one race recently that was at like 1 or 2 in the morning? I stayed up for
Like
that one.
Singapore or something.
Yeah, it was kind of
maybe.
fun. I was up playing
Yeah.
Tarkov or something, and I was like, oh look, it's
Tarkov.
12:30, or then it was like 1. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna stay up another hour and watch the race for. I think I fell asleep for most fixed. I normally fall asleep during Formula One races anyway, but
And
love it.
one more F1 note. I want to shout out our F1 correspondent Caleb Smith as
Yes.
a member of the Haas F1 team.
Go check out
he's,
their
uh,
Instagram to see our boy.
He's Austin and I's good friend, and he works for Haas, and he narrated a video. So
Our ex roommate.
yes.
Nice.
Well, nothing against him and his efforts in F1, but I hate F1 still.
Yeah.
That's fair.
All right. Kill count. Ross. He
Ross?
took out a couple
Ross?
cars with a daring.
You're putting that on Ross? I wasn't sure who to put that one on.
I mean, he came out of nowhere. Like
He's the one who put
I
it
don't know.
4 wide, so I don't know if you want to put it on him
Yeah.
for putting 4 wide. But it started with the 2 in the middle, and I couldn't
Like,
tell
if it
who
was-
got who.
If it was 4 wide going into turn 1 and they held it all the way around the turn, I'd say it's kind of just a racing deal. But he threw it in there right at the last second. I'm guessing they had to lift for some reason. I don't know, but it looked like it was a Ross thing to me. And it doesn't matter. He's not going to win unless if he takes out a shit ton of cars in the next 2 weeks.
Who's
so.
winning right now?
Corey LaJoy with
Nice.
18.
Ooh.
Brad
Boy.
K and Joey and Bell 16. So if Bell moves a couple
16?
people, 16.
When did he wreck 16 people? I don't remember this.
I don't know. Daytona?
Throughout the
Maybe?
whole season, Zach. Come on, it's a whole season.
Talladega.
guess.
I don't know.
I just don't remember
Yeah.
that. It might have been a plate race. I think you might be right. I think I can remember.
was.
Next season, we should
Yeah,
keep track of like highest kills in a single race too. See who holds that record throughout the season. As well.
I think it's Corey. I think that's why he's up there.
Yeah, I think we marked him at like 4 or 5 one week, and normally it's like 1 or 2.
Corey got like a
Yeah.
16.
That might have been
X
Atlanta
race.
that I think he took
I
it. 'Cause
think-
didn't he have a couple at Atlanta?
He had 11 one race because I remember counting. I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
That might have been Atlanta because I think he got into like he had a thing with Eric Jones, I think, and I think that kind of led into something else or something or other. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Them super speedways.
Yep. So 2 more weeks. Still anybody's game. Let's go to Survivor. Zach, what do you got for us?
I don't want to talk about it. I fucking hate this so much.
He hates the monster he
Almost
created.
like,
I do.
oh, your driver won. I mean, oh yeah, I picked your driver.
Yeah, I
So, 4 more points.
Yep.
Where'd you finish? Who'd you pick? You picked the best driver in the world, right?
Yeah, I picked the best driver in the world, hoping he'd perform, and well, he's I don't know, probably still.
Zach, you're just
doesn't
a
stand
walking
out of his
curse.
shoes.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna need you
Apparently.
to turn off this Phillies game.
I know, dude.
Yeah, you better turn it off. I turn it off too, so I can't be blamed for this.
True.
Ugh.
It's all on Zach because Zach is just.
I don't know what it is. It's crazy.
Why would you
It
pick
is so
William?
crazy. So, because I kind of don't want him to make it.
Unbelievable.
I think it's impossible for him not to. So
I'm worried about him at Phoenix. So if I can give him some bad juju.
Unbelievable.
No, I don't know. I just think Williams gonna be fast. He's good there, and Hendricks showed up with some speed. So hopefully I don't curse him because I do think he can do well. But Honestly, at this point, it doesn't matter what I do. So that's me. I'm
Oh.
taking Byron. Who's next? Joseph.
I am going with your boy Christopher Bell.
I hope he finishes dead last. Not because of you, because I don't want him to be worried about Martinsville. I don't want him to be thinking about Martinsville. I hope they bring just the worst setup. I hope he wrecks out early so he can just go and get on the simulator for Phoenix.
Austin.
Drake.
I am gonna go with a YRB. I think he's gonna need to show
YRB.
up a little bit extra this week. So
He's good there.
He is.
He is.
Andrew.
And I'm gonna take Denny Hamlin.
Dennis.
EH.
He's gonna win this week, so it's a good pick.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. You want to recap points quick or?
No, but I will.
Okay.
Where you at, Zach?
Well, Andrew's leading now by a healthy margin. 97. Joe and Austin are tied at 93, and I'm at 83.
Andrew is laying dormy right now. He can lock it in this week.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
What? At least
Can't
third?
you? Because if you win,
Well, we're doing a NASCAR thing, right? So, and we have our final four. So what we really should do is after Martinsville, is just even everything out, even the scores at an even 100,
No.
Yes.
and then whoever wins that week wins the whole thing.
I agree.
That's how we should do it.
mm-hmm.
I disagree.
Hey,
I brought it up when we were going to the playoffs. You guys are like, no, keep the points.
I thought we should have cut it off at like week 20. You know, I thought we should just have ended right there, called it a day. But
We're going to the championship race. Like that's all that matters. So if I win that week, I don't give a shit what this whole season-long
It's like
point
the Mickey
system
Mouse
said.
Club.
Oh, so Martin Truex should win then, Zach, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I'm picking Harvick for Phoenix. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, well, better hope you lose this week then. Otherwise, I'm picking Harvick.
Because he's going to cheat the fuck out of that 4-car.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think NASCAR has the balls to, like,
Now,
DQ Kevin Harvick.
Imagine if they DQ him in his last race.
DQ Kevin Harvick in his last race for his last win when it essentially doesn't mean anything, but it's just a sentimental thing.
Yeah.
I don't think NASCAR would do anything. They would just rather go run with the storyline.
He's going to be P5 that race. Because obviously the other car's going to be the top 4, but unless someone
Does he
wrecks
still
out.
have his consistent top 10s going there?
No. Oh, at Phoenix? I don't know.
Yeah, he has like the longest. What is it? The longest streak
I thought
of
it ended-
consecutive top 10s at a track.
I think it ended in the spring.
Did it?
I
Well,
could be wrong.
leave it to these fucking shit boxes SHR's bringing to the track.
Right. I think he got in a wreck or something. Or damaged or I
Oh,
don't
that'd be a shame.
remember. Yeah. But
Anywho,
Yeah,
that's Survivor.
Survivor.
Let's never talk about that again.
we gotta do it one more time. So Zach, you said you might have an OnlyFans for us.
No, I
No?
don't. Mm-mm. I thought I did.
Well,
Next week.
yeah, that's disappointing. So that's it for tonight's episode. Guys, any closing comments, words? No? Everybody's dead.
Negative.
Okay, we're gonna end it. We're all looking forward to Martinsville though. Kind of.
Yay!
Kind of.
Yeah. Cut
Maybe.
race.
Only 2 races left.
I know, man. That's
So
rough.
sad.
But
It's off
Pretty
season.
wild.
then we got some other major news.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Meatball Motorsports has
Oh, yeah.
officially announced their
Yep.
starting lineup and livery
Livery.
for the
Well, it was a teaser.
24 Hours of Daytona.
There hasn't been anything officially revealed or announced. It was a teaser, as they
Well,
call it in
tuned.
the business.
Stay tuned.
okay.
It is on our
Was
Twitter,
it-
though.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's October, so it's a little early to be showing the full thing. But the paint scheme is done. We do have our drivers established, which I think we've said on here before, so it wouldn't really be a shock.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll put together a little hype video. I usually like to do that every year just for funsies.
He does
So
a great
that'll
job.
probably be like the full reveal.
So make sure to follow us on X at the GWC Pod, and we're also all other forms of stuff.
Yeah.
Yes,
everything else.
things.
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, which you're probably watching. If you're not, you should be. Oh yeah.
Come
I
on.
don't know. Anybody else closing comments? I thought
Nope.
of something. I'm happy. All right. We will see you next week with the Martinsville recap, and then we will talk about the playoff race at Phoenix.
Let's
See ya.
go.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
I love you.